Boom, baby. We are live. Welcome to Tokyo Crypto Show, episode 102, Operation Green Rolex and Ethereum 2X update. We are going to talk to you today about what we've got going on with these two little experiments. I guess we should call them, Charlie. I'm joined by Charlie, the owner, author, and creator of the #1 cryptocurrency education course in the world, the Crypto Mindset. Charlie, good morning to you. How are you?
Yeah, it's going good. Just loving the Solana pump, loving the crypto. Just moving up here pretty good. This dip today, not so bad. Karura, there's a coin that I was looking for to dip or whatever in the last couple of days. Did was able to get a little more of that, so that's always nice.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the Afghani drop or whatever, but we got some kind of dip going on in the market. I have like this group that I'm part of, and somebody's like, "This is the week Bitcoin goes to 50K." I was like, "Okay, normies are talking, so the price is probably going to drop." But
Yep.
you know, we got a good episode for you guys. We got a really good episode. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what's going on with our two investment plans, I guess you would call, or like not even investment plans, but just strategies. So the first thing was Operation Green Rolex. Operation Green Rolex was debuted last year on July 29th, 2020. And me and Charlie took 10,000 US dollars and we told the audience we can use the power of cryptocurrency to get a green 18 karat Daytona Cosmograph Rolex. Okay. Now, something very interesting has happened between then and now. Due to message put out by Rolex, they actually said that they're going to discontinue the green Rolex, the Daytona Rolex. It is a beautiful watch, and what this actually caused the watch to do is actually skyrocket in price. So we're just going to show you what the watch looks like. This is the watch right here, okay? And it's beautiful. It's 18 karat gold with a green face. And this Rolex is one of the most rare Rolexes in the world. You've seen it worn by people like Conor McGregor, John Mayer, and yes, this is a Rolex. And what this actually caused the price to do was to skyrocket. Okay, this Rolex is $100,000 in some places. At the time of Operation Green Rolex, we were targeting to acquire it, and it was about 56,000 US dollars. So the target price was $56,000. So basically, we needed to 5.6x our money. We're going to give an update on what happened to that $10,000. And then Operation Ethereum 2X is another thing we had going this year. And so I previously sold my Daytona Rolex that I owned, and it was the one with the black. It was this one, the black face with the gold strip on it. And we sold this for, Charlie, what did we get for this? We sold it quickly.
It was between $16,000 to $17,000.
So yeah, we sold it for about $16,000, and the goal was to take this cash, put it into Ethereum, and then double the cash in 30 days. So we did indeed fail on the 30-day mark, but We do have an update for you guys today as to where this all stands, and we're going to be covering it pretty speedily. In the meantime, Charlie, do you want to cover what's going on in the market before we jump into this?
Yeah, sure. I can share with what's happening with Bitcoin, and yeah, let's do that. All right, there's the Bitcoin chart if you want to throw that up there.
Here we go. We'll go full screen on this.
You got it?
Yep, you're full screen.
Okay, cool. So yeah, whenever we're looking at the crypto markets, right, Bitcoin is the one that we need to pay attention to and see what's going. And so here, right, we got that golden cross with the, you can see it up here in the left-hand corner, the 50 and 100 moving average, the 50 moving average going right above the 100 moving average there. So that'll be a solid support area here at about $38,200 for Bitcoin. So that's a good sign for the rest of the market that Bitcoin's recovery here is the real deal, right? It's we still do have some time that Bitcoin could try to have some pretty violent moves to the downside and go below that area. But this shows, especially right at these candles here, that this area is pretty solid support for the Bitcoin price. And also with the 60-day cycles, we have the beginning of the cycle here on July 20th, 2021. Since then, Bitcoin has ripped up here pretty awesomely in the last 30 days by about a 65% increase, which, for crypto is nice, but, for traditional markets, that's a face melter, right? Most traditional markets don't see that type of return in several years. So Bitcoin's doing very well here in the last 1 month. And the high of the cycle right now is here on day 24 of the 60-day cycle. So what we're looking for here is pretty simple in the next probably couple of weeks here. To the downside, what do we need Bitcoin to do to stay up? And why do we need Bitcoin to stay up? Well, if Bitcoin stays basically above this cluster here, this previous high, which is about 42,500 or 600, right? If we just say Bitcoin stays above 42,000 or 42,500, that's what we need Bitcoin to do to keep the momentum that it's built here over the last 1 month. And then the reason why is because that allows, basically, if there's no confidence in the price of Bitcoin, then that bleeds into no confidence in all of cryptocurrencies, right? So for the majority of cryptocurrencies, they need Bitcoin to be doing well. They need Ethereum to be doing well in order for those prices, in order for investors to think or to have confidence in those prices running up as well. So we want Bitcoin here to stay in this area that it's currently at here until Friday, August 20th, which is the midpoint of the 60-day cycle, right? And what's the importance of that? Basically, the importance of the midpoint of the 60-day cycle is, you can see here in past moves for Bitcoin, if you get a high after day 30, that usually means the bull move is intact. So here we had a high at 61, which is actually quite long for a 60-day cycle. And we had a low here at 75. And then we came up to another cycle high here at day 49, which is past day 30. And that's also bullish. And then here we had a high right before day 30. And that was right before a massive pullback. So when we have that high significantly before the 30-day period and it comes back up and it can't beat that area, and then it has more likelihood to fail, which we call this a failed or bearish cycle, and that goes down to the new lows. And here we had kind of a neutral one where the high was in the first 30 days of the cycle. So it is technically bearish, but it was close to day 30. So it's kind of bearish to neutral, and the price did go down and then sideways. And then so now, if we do have that 24-day high and we have a failure here, we have what we would need is like a violent move below this 42,000 area, and then below this cross here below 37,000. If those two prices hit within like the next, let's say 10 days, then that means these lows could be in danger and Bitcoin could have a negative about 30 days to the downside. But when you're looking at probabilities, what's more probable and what's the path of least resistance for Bitcoin? Well, the amount of work it would need to do in the next 2 days, and then maybe give it 5 more days after that. So the next 1 week, the price would have to move pretty violently below these moving averages, which it's likely to get support at. So worst case scenario, I think Bitcoin kind of would go like sideways here between that 35,000 and 45,000 over the next 30 days. But what would need to happen for this crypto run to continue here for the next 20 days, roughly speaking, would be the previous highs of, if I were to be very specific, the previous highs of 48,200, basically. If at any point past August 20th, Bitcoin makes it above 45, what was it again? 48,200. If Bitcoin were to make that jump, then that not guarantees us exactly, but it usually gives us about 10 to 20 days of positive action. So that would bring us somewhere between September 1st, which would be day 42 of the cycle, all the way potentially to day 55, which would be September 14th. So that first 2 weeks of September, we would have time to run into. So anywhere between 2 weeks to a month of pretty solid price action to the upside, and Bitcoin could then return into the 50K area. So the next 2 to 7 days will be very, very important to pay attention to these different price areas. But it looks like here the path of least resistance is to the upside, because basically Bitcoin in terms of price is much closer to making a new high above there than it is to dropping down below that 38,000 mark. So everything's looking healthy here in Bitcoin, is basically what you can take away from that. And in terms of Ethereum, it's the same, right? Except for the numbers are just a little bit different. Ethereum, we want to see hold above the 2,900 region. And then in the next 2 days to 1 week, we want to see Ethereum beat the previous highs of about 3,400, right? About 30. If it gets to 3,350 at any point in the next 1 week, then we can be pretty sure that Ethereum is going to go and continue up here. So we'll see how that goes. And in terms of what is happening here on the Bitcoin dominance is going sideways here, basically since May. And so this has allowed the altcoins to run. And so we have coins like Kusama, Polkadot, and other cryptocurrencies like Solana really taking big moves here in the last couple of weeks because when there's confidence in Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's confidence in the other coins in the market. So that's what's going on. In terms of like the macro, what's happening with the market, if I just refresh this page here, we have just under $2 trillion in all of cryptocurrency. And Bitcoin specifically is getting at $850 billion. So Bitcoin's coming back towards that $1 trillion mark again. So it's going to come and try to test that area here within the early part of September. And if anybody who's looking for a kind of dip period to buy, basically, if you are confident with this current move or whatever coins you do purchase, you're willing to hold at the current prices for a longer period of time, then now basically is a very good time to be purchasing. And then the next best time to be purchasing will be the middle to end of September. So those will be the next two areas to look for as we try to get some of the best prices before the end of the year. Because as we talked about a couple of weeks ago in the end of year price show, right, we're looking for $100,000 Bitcoin or $110,000 Bitcoin, if I'm being precise, and $11,500 Ethereum by the end of this year. So right here with Bitcoin, that would be a little bit more than a 2x. And with Ethereum, that would be about just a little under a 3x. Or sorry, a little bit over, almost a little bit under a 4x. So that's a lot. That's easy money. Not easy because you obviously have to do the work. You have to understand what Bitcoin and Ethereum are and have the confidence and courage to get into the prices at the current time. I know a lot of people out there are worried about what's happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it takes a lot of knowledge of what's happening in the market in order to have that confidence. But that's why the Moon Gang wins, is because a lot of guys that were in our course have been purchasing Bitcoin in this accumulation region here, which is going to look fantastic. It already looks fantastic, but it's going to look even better here in the next few months. So yeah, everything's healthy.
I mean, you say that they really need to understand cryptocurrency. I mean,
if they want to be confident in the move.
What I'm trying to say is if they just get, I mean, obviously not financial advice, but if they get in the crypto mindset course and just mindlessly follow your instructions, they'll make money too.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, if they watch my YouTube and mindlessly follow my instructions, I just tend to give, those caveats because hashtag not financial advice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it just looks so good right now. I advised someone relatively close to me. They had 3 million yen in their Japanese bank account, and in the last 6 months, you know how much interest they made?
Like 0.5%.
11 yen.
Yeah, exactly.
11 yen on $30,000. Hilarious. Did you want to do Dot and Kusama?
Oh yeah, I can do that too. Yep.
Yeah.
And then
I know you had that chart up.
Yeah. Let me know then if you want to after we mention what you're going to mention there, and then after we take a look at Kusama, I can explain where we got in for the different projects, or we can do that a little bit later, however you want to go.
No, let's jump right into it after Dot Kusama, because I think this is something really to watch right now. I mean, Dot is just on a juicy little mini dip right now, and I mean, I don't know about. Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know about you, man, but for me, I am frothing at the mouth to get some fucking Dot in my portfolio.
Yeah, I already got a good chunk. I mean, it's always good to get more. That's why I bought some Karura today. It dipped really nicely. I think yesterday when we were looking at it on my show, it was around maybe $9, and it dipped down to $7 and some change today. So as soon as I bought it at I think I bought it at $7.90. As soon as I bought it, it went up 30 or 40 cents. So I was like, oh, nice. But yeah, Karura is right now. So basically Kusama is the test net, or the place where they can move fast and break things on the Polkadot ecosystem. And Karura is one of the first projects that's doing really well there. So that's why I wanted to jump in there, because it is kind of like betting on the entire Kusama ecosystem. So I wanted to have a little bit piece of that. And when Polkadot comes out with its parachain auctions as well, there's going to be a platform called Akala, which is going to do a similar function on the Polkadot ecosystem. So come early next year, that'll be another one that'll be nice to accumulate if you are bullish on the Polkadot ecosystem. But what we got here with Kusama and Dot is, right, we just got how they are related in terms of Bitcoin terms. So when this chart is going to the upside, that means that Kusama is outpacing Bitcoin more than Dot is. And when they go down, right, it means Dot is outpacing Bitcoin more than Kusama is. So if you want to gain more Bitcoin and gain more Dot and Kusama, basically you can play these different moves here. And if you play them at the right times, this is for people who maybe aren't aware of this chart. If you play them at the different times, then you can gain more Dot and Kusama. And then because you're in Dot and Kusama, which are going to outpace Bitcoin, then by default towards the end of the bull market, if you decide to cash it out into Bitcoin, then you've also gained more Bitcoin. So this is gaining more crypto, aka cultivating more crypto, through coin pairs, basically. So it is a little bit of a foreign concept to a lot of people. So we'll also take a look at Dot in terms of dollar value. But right now, what we see with this is when they both, were kind of on the market here for the first time, they were kind of just trading, moves to the upside and downside. And then here you can see Kusama is the stronger asset here over since March of this year. And then Dot took over here again from about June. And right now it looks like it's because this area is kind of like the new low for Kusama against Dot. So it looks like here that Kusama is going to be the one to then take over and kind of come back up here towards that 20 mark. So that's for the people who maybe already own crypto, have taken the crypto mindset course, and have seen this ratio before. So it looks like Kusama is going to be the one to have a run against Dot, but they're both going to outpace Bitcoin. So regardless of which one you're in, you're still winning. But then when it comes to Dot, actually, I want to go maybe over here against the dollar to keep it simple. And let's pull it back here to a weekly chart. We can see Dot has broken its downtrend here for I gotta shape it up here a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So we have DOT breaking its downtrend after that move with Ethereum from mid-May into mid-July, right? Which allowed a lot of people to get some very good discounts here. Basically, the best discount was anything below $20 for DOT. And obviously, it came down here on this last wick here, right down to that $10.30 or 50-cent mark. So that would have been a nice area to get it. And since then, it has doubled in price. So even though it's doubled in price, this is kind of the first little rally. So there's a lot more to come. So it really depends on what Bitcoin and Ethereum do. But you can see here this week, the price had gone up as high as $27, $28 and is back down to below $25, which in my opinion is a very nice area to grab some, because even if the week were to end red and like end down here at $21, as long as Bitcoin and Ethereum over the next 3 or 4 days continue to hold their own and then look like they're about to make new highs in this 60-day cycle, then I think this is basically between $21 to $25 is the best price you're going to get for Polkadot. So it all depends on Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course. So we got to watch what those do first. But in my opinion, that's a very good area to be grabbing some. So if you've been wanting to, hashtag not financial advice, but feel free to do so. If we look at it on a daily chart, you just see this run has had a lot of green candles. So it's been a very nice run, and it's getting rejected on its first attempt to go above its 200-week moving average. But you can see here, there's one difference between DOT right now, that Ethereum and Bitcoin actually, it's a little bit more bullish than Bitcoin and Ethereum. And why do I say that? It's earlier in its accumulation phase. So right here, you have this moving average wanting to curl up here, this one wanting to curl down, and then this one going sideways. So why is that important? Basically, when you have a bullish move, you want this small moving average, the 50 moving average, and then the middle one, the 100, and the bottom one, the 200. So from lowest number to highest number, you want those in that order for a bullish move. Once it breaks that, then it shifts right to a bearish mode. And you can see right now it's about to shift to another bullish mode as long as price remains above about $20, right? So that's the caveat, but it looks like that's going to take place. So this area just above $22 is probably between $22 and $28, this whole area here, until it breaks above its 200-day. That's an accumulation area. You had this down here. This is like, the long-term holders who want to buy it for a very long time will be purchasing it down here, because it was quite risky at that point, because the market could have gone either way. Right here is where you start getting the people who are accumulating for the mid to long term. And then now you have your normal average everyday Joe who is confident or aware of the market right now. I think Tony in the chat said it takes brass balls to buy at these prices, and hold this till the end of the year. So those are the type of people buying still right now. So this area here between $16 to $27 is the area to be purchasing. And then once it breaks above that 200, and then it breaks above its all-time high of 50, then it's a race to about $100 $100 DOT at least. And the reason why I say it's a little bit in a better position than Bitcoin and Ethereum is simply because its RSI here is still trending up. And with Bitcoin and Ethereum, if we go and look at that,
what does RSI indicate for these guys?
So it means overbought or oversold, basically.
Relative strength index, right?
Correct. That's the what the words stand for. And so down here below 30 means that the asset is oversold, meaning it's likely below a fair value compared to where it has been recently. And then above 70 is it starting to get a little highly overvalued or a little overheated. Here you could see during the previous area where before it topped, but actually where it was getting close to a top in price, it comes up to here like 83. But in a lot of cryptocurrencies, you see them go up as high as like 92 to 95 on the RSI. So it's still really healthy here. But when you have the price going up and the RSI following the same pattern, that's healthy. Versus one thing to be aware of right now on Bitcoin is that's the one thing to kind of take pause of right now in this market is we do have the RSI going down while the price is going up. We call that bearish divergence. So unless the price does make a new move up here, the RSI comes above the previous trend line, until that time, this is actually a move which could be bearish. And we saw this on a larger scale. If we go back on the weekly for Bitcoin, we saw this on a larger scale here, where you saw the RSI going down from January through April while the price was going up. That's kind of like it's not the be all end all, but it's a small hint that, at this time, the price is getting a little overheated and the market's over exuberant, basically, or, valuing it too much. So at that time, we got a big drop after that. So we don't have that divergence on the weekly now. So the daily is less strong, but it is something to at least pay attention to. And DOT doesn't have that right now on its chart. So that's actually kind of interesting. So that's what we got for those three coins. And so everything's looking pretty good right now. We want to just see Bitcoin here rally with some strength over the next week. And if we can see that happen, then green lights for the accumulation ain't over until October. And then from October, we start really, really moving.
All right, I got a boomer question for you.
Yep.
All right. So obviously we've got some situation going on in Afghanistan right now.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to make anything political, but the war, Kim Jong-un launching ICBMs, this typically does have an effect on the Bitcoin price. I saw the UK British Parliament a few hours ago debating about interfering with Afghanistan, and I recently seen that the CIA has paid $2 billion to a private militia to go back into Afghanistan to assist with some stuff. Could all of this international news have any effect on the price of cryptocurrency?
It's possible. I would say there's a couple different ways to look at that. The simplest way to look at it is if it affects the traditional markets, right? The traditional markets do have some correlation and linkage to the crypto markets now that the crypto markets are much bigger and we do have Wall Street and larger investors in this market. So it could have a small effect, but thinking about, the last couple of days, just the percentage points that Bitcoin has gone down is less than 10% over multiple days. That's not abnormal for Bitcoin at all. So if that is the reason, okay. But there's really no way to be definitive and say that is exactly why this is happening. And usually when you ask people who are like looking at the chart is just the data of how people are feeling, right? The sentiment of the market. How do they value this asset? So if there's a few people who do need money from the traditional markets and maybe they're scared for whatever reason, then yeah, it could have that effect. But often the price basically moves on the chart, and then the news, basically people find reasons in the news to fit a narrative for what the price is doing, is how a lot of people who look at the charts see the price action. So there could be thousands of different factors into this, and that could be one of them. So I would say it's not really, for me, I don't like to say like that's exactly the reason why, simply just because oftentimes there's those types of events happen and nothing happens to the Bitcoin price as well. So it's pretty hard to say, but maybe.
Interesting. Ryan Sullivan wants to know, the new Afghan government wants crypto investors to migrate there. All right, Charlie, pack it up, baby. Let's go get some ARAP money.
Hey man, if they give us free electricity and some of those RPGs that we can throw on our backs, then maybe.
Yeah, they have the goat to wife ratio over there. Okay, so let's talk about these two projects we got going on. Let's do Operation Green Rolex first. Okay. So we started off with me funding $10,000 of my own money into this excellent genius man over here, Charlie from Cultivate Crypto. And Charlie, why don't we let's just talk to the folks and tell them what happened.
Yeah, definitely. So, in crypto, you kind of, you're like, I'm going to be pretty positive on what we've done with the money, right? So I'll start with the result. which we have hit our goal, like you said earlier in the show, which is
The
fantastic.
goal was $56,000. We have hit $56,000, but the Rolex currently is, because of the announcement of the discontinuation of the Rolex. In order to acquire a Rolex that is a gold green faced dialed Daytona Rolex, it is now $85,584. So
Right.
we did hit the target of $56,000.
We have a moving target with that.
The moving target, yeah, because we've been chasing this dragon basically since Q4 last year, and it's relatively annoying. But Charlie and I like a challenge. This is a joint effort as well, and
we've both made decisions along the way, and we both. I mean, here's the thing, right? In crypto, you never play the game perfectly, and I would say there's a few things that we've done which have been excellent, right? In terms of the coins that we've got and have done excellent returns, right? I would say anybody who can do in terms of, like a 6 or 7x within a calendar year on your dollars, that's fantastic, right? But here in crypto, we have high standards pretty much, we want that 10x, we want that 20x, baby. And we have the chance for that. And, we had some butterfingers every once in a while. And we'll talk about that as well. There's I guess there's a few people who've probably taken the Q3 course and probably imagine where I'm going with this from where I'm at now. So hint right there. I can show on the charts kind of where we've moved into what we've done. And hindsight's always 2020. I was talking with Miguel about this today, and he was like, there's a lot of movement in the different coins that we've chosen for different reasons that sometimes the ebbs and flows of them throughout the year have been kind of a challenge. So I didn't want to just sit on one horse and rely on that to make the entire gains. So the first move that we did, right, because this was July 20th or 29th of last year, right? So full transparency, I mean, everybody knows the shows that we did on Hex in May of last year. And I went back and watched some of those shows. Good information in them, and there's a lot of unknowns at that time that I would say a lot of people, even in Hex, in their heart of hearts, they were worried about some of those things, and so they didn't want to hear those things. And also, whenever somebody kind of fuds your coin a little bit, you get angry. So I understand that, right? And we've since one of the things I did with my personal stash at that time is I wanted the market to prove me wrong, right? And say, hey, Hex is a legit project, all that stuff. So I did put money down on Hex when, I didn't understand it deeply as a project. And I was like, let's see if the market proves me wrong. And it is a good coin, and it has done that, right? And so one of the things that we did, it makes a good story, is we threw it in Hex, I think, around late July, early August of last year. And we were just like, yep, let's get this Rolex on Hex, because the community hated us at the time. And there's still a lot of people who do.
Still 50-50 now. I think we won over half of them.
Yeah, I mean, the smart ones, right? So yeah, any of those Hex haters out there that still hate us, it's just like, you got your panties in a bunch still. That's your problem, right? Because I probably, compared to the majority of people who have been in Hex, I probably have more Hex than them, and I probably sacrifice more Hex for Pulse than most of those people as well. And then I've also introduced more people to the Hex project than the majority of people in the space. And there's a lot of crypto people out there who will unfollow you if you talk about Hex. And so I talk about it openly. And we, as a person who's in crypto, you have to come to every project with a giant grain of salt, which we did. And I think you need to look at both sides of the coin. If you absolutely only look at the upside or absolutely only look at the downside, I think you don't really do yourself many favors. You have to look at everything and take that into a logical approach and decide to go into a project or not. But anyways, out of spite, we bought Hex, last year with the project, and it wasn't the best timing, right? Compared to where Hex is now, it was great timing. But to be honest, Hex had pumped in the spring of last year quite a lot, and then it was kind of a laggard in terms of its price for a very, very long time, right? And so actually at that time, one of the coins that we were basically talking about into the first crypto mindset course, Q4 of last year, September of last year, we told everybody get into Celsius when Celsius was about I would say 40 cents, 35 to 40 cents. And currently it's at $6, roughly speaking. Right. And so instead of making a financial decision based on spite and having a good story about it, we probably should have thrown it in Celsius to begin with. But again, like I said, hindsight 2020, right? So we threw it in Hex for the fun story, and the coin did nothing for a very long time, is basically what I'll say. And then we kept it in there. So here's the thing. Hats off to us. We kept it in Hex for quite a long time throughout last year and into the early parts of this year. And we started, like you said, with that $10,000, and we did get about a 3.5x via Hex over that time. It wasn't very satisfying for me because, I was expecting Hex to basically do bigger moves over that period of time, and it didn't. And so we did get in at a very good price. But then I think here's where, so that the first mistake is we made a financial decision based on spite. And then the second mistake was we got bored, right? So we got bored with Hex, and we're like I said before, we didn't want to rely on one coin to make the move, and it was taking a little bit longer than we anticipated. So I think it was earlier this year, I think in the spring, you decided, hey, let's jump out of that, right? Did you want to kind of mention why you were thinking that at the time?
For me, it was that. So my biggest accumulation was in November, and I had gotten a decent amount of Ethereum at $400 and $600, right? And so I saw my entire portfolio just mooning with no breaks. And then I see fucking Hex like puttering along, and I'm just like, yeah, obviously I was a little, biased as well. I was like, these fucking inbreds, like the fucking the Hexkin community is just like a bunch of Tom Bombadils. And so, it was an emotional call.
Right.
It was an emotional call. And I was just like, Charlie, look.
So both calls have been emotional, right? The first one and the second one that we've had here.
Yeah. And so I was just like, Charlie, look, this thing ain't doing shit. Fuck this. And, you were like, 50-50. Miguel, Dollar Cost Crypto, was like, no, dude, don't do it. Because we had, I had 1.9 million Hex at the time in February. And if we
would have, your personal stash, right? That wasn't the.
No, that was the Rolex. That was the Operation Rolex stash.
I didn't remember exactly how much it was.
No, trust me, I remember. I wake up screaming. I wake up screaming that number at night. So if we would have held on to the one, and I'm eating my humble pie, and it's fine. It is what it is. Like I'm man enough to admit that I was 100% wrong. But if I would have held on to that Hex bag right now, it would be $342,000, and I didn't. And it is what it is. We ended up putting it into
Celsius.
Wasn't it ADA first?
Yeah. Yeah. We did do a little bit of Cardano there. Well, Cardano was moving from
when it pumped from 60 cents, when it pumped from 67 cents to about $1.
Correct. And that basically brought the stash up from somewhere in the 30,000s up to about low 50,000s. Right. And so that brought us up pretty well as well. And so we're like, okay, good move there. And then basically we were like, yeah, Cardano doesn't have any smart contracts, doesn't have any projects on it. So let's move this to something a little bit more stable. And so we moved it over to Celsius after that, which actually was a fantastic decision as well, because then the dip came, right? Yes. The big crypto dip here in between April and May. And Celsius held up much better than other coins. And so we did maintain the $50,000, basically the 5x value that we had gained from that point, when the rest of the market was dumping. If we had kept it, in any other asset almost, minus Hex or Celsius, then it would have probably basically dumped. So,
yeah. I was gonna save this to the end, but I'll just say it right now. Ultimately, this is something Miguel Dollar Cost Crypto told me, and it's seriously like it's like his wise sage words that I'll just like, you know, will really echo with me like until the day I die. And he said like all the money is made with the hodlers. Like,
Correct.
get in early, don't lose your fucking entry point, and hold on for dear life, during highs and lows. The the hex bag was the only bag I didn't necessarily sell it. I held everything this entire time. I've been accumulating all year. I've not made a single sell. Other than I was a little impatient because also the price of the Rolex was moving, and I was just like, "Fuck, this is so slow." And like it was just like I was getting a little greedy. My
When
fear and greed index was like
yeah,
fucking maxed out on the greed.
as usual.
Yeah. To me it's 100% or 0% in my life. And so this whole bouncing back and forward, I mean, even if we stayed with ADA even tonight, we would have done from 60 cents until now. I don't think we've done as good as Hex, but
Correct.
still the biggest takeaway is like this reaffirms my belief that like honestly I think statistically speaking, day trading is just like it's a lost
Oh, for
cause with
sure.
crypto.
For
Like you're
sure.
better off identifying concrete projects, concrete investment opportunities, and then getting in early, holding on for dear life, having an exit strategy, and doing that.
Right. And the dollar cost averaging, like that's why you get into stuff at good prices, right? You for basically like you don't want to move, you don't want to slosh around your capital too much, right? I do think there is some merit for people who are willing to pay tuition to learn, basically to having a bag that you do move around a bit. So, I mean, this amount of money that we're doing here, is just like a bit of money we're willing to, play around with and lose, right? And then also to try to gain to get a specific item, right, with the green Rolex. So
Mm-hmm.
the one thing, like there's a couple things in hindsight which are interesting, right? So if we would have, the other thing is not just the trading aspect of it, because actually we probably would have done quite well for a couple. I mean, we did do quite well for a couple of those trades, but the thing we did at the very beginning, the two biggest mistakes are not necessarily the how often we move the coins, it's why we did so, right?
Mm-hmm.
So both of them being emotional decisions, right? So if you're making an emotional decision on your trade or your investment, it doesn't matter if it's an investment or a trade, because basically the same thing, just different time frames. If we would have just gone with pure logic and not tried to make a creative narrative that was fun to talk about it at the end of the day, then we would have probably gone with Celsius beforehand. And that actually would have got us to our goal a lot faster, because getting Celsius at 40 cents or 35 cents, we would have hit the goal by November of last year. Just buy Celsius and sit there, because Celsius went on a freaking tear. And we knew this, right? We told, the crypto mindset course, the first one that we ever did, August 18th, by Celsius around 40 cents. And we were expecting it to do about a 4x by the end of last year. And it did, over a 10x, almost a 15x, right? So, 10x on that 10K would have been 100K. And then we wouldn't have really worried. But because our first decision was based on emotion, that's really the problem, right? And then the second decision, right, if we would have also, because we did pretty well on the Celsius, or sorry, on the Hex, we did do that 3x, and then we did do good on the Cardano. And then if we would have just kept it in Hex from there, right, not made that other emotional decision, then we would have done better. So it's like doing well versus doing the best you can. Also, I mean, if we would have bought, let's say Ripple, for example, or bought some, coin that's not really good fundamentals, then we probably wouldn't be sitting on the number of X's that we already are. So it's like, it's always hindsight's 2020, and you got to take a couple nuggets from here and there. It's like, okay, obviously A, don't overtrade, but then more importantly, B, don't make your trades or make your investment decisions based on emotional decisions. And then ideally, take your bets as you do with the different coins that you choose, dollar cost average into them, and then hold them throughout the bull market. And if you are going to do any movements with those, because I think there's a lot of people who are like, well, at $64,000 or $4,400 for Ethereum, $64,000 for Bitcoin, selling off before that dip would have been fantastic. Or you could have found the two assets in the crypto space, which are Celsius and Hex, which did not go down significantly during that period of time. So there's a bunch of different angles that you can take to it, and it also depends on what type of investor you are. But regardless, I mean, we basically made the goal, right? And we just probably with Celsius could have made it a lot earlier. So
yeah, and if you guys remember, like here we have this saying here by Commando. I was saying this, around this time this year, I started saying time in the market is always better than timing the market, and that's because I was eating humble pie for like 6 months, or not 6 months. I was eating humble pie for like 3 months, and this was this was masked as a lesson for you, but really was a lesson for me. I mean, I really learned that from this, that time in the market always beats timing the market. Timing the market,
as long as you're choosing the right asset. So that's the caveat, right?
Yeah, yeah. As long,
like I
right,
said, if
right,
you're choosing Ripple, then
right,
but
exactly.
if you're choosing Celsius, Hex, Bitcoin, Ethereum, these types of things, then yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the biggest thing I learned. The biggest thing I took away from the whole debacle, if you will. That being said, so you want to talk about the history, like from A to Z into where we are now?
From which aspect?
We started at Hex, went to Celsius.
Okay, so yeah, that's basically what we just talked through, right? So do you want me to I guess
let's just give a recap and then give them an update to where we are with the total and everything right now.
Okay, so yeah, we started with $10,000. Put it into Hex. Did somewhere around a 3x on there. Brought it up to, I think it was either like a 2.5 or 3x, basically $25,000 to $30,000. Then we brought it into Cardano for a bit, moved it up there, up to that $50,000 range, put it into Celsius there. That kind of was the pause button that we had there. And recently we threw it back in Hex because there's a few things going on with Hex that we talked about in the Q4 course. And Hex has gone up over the last week or so. And we currently have the bag at $61,700. So we've outpaced our goal by quite a bit. And basically, we got that moving target with the green Rolex. So one thing I can do is I can take a look at the Hex chart and see where we're going with it and why I chose it here for the current move. Because I think towards the beginning of the show, I think it was Commando was saying, right, we need that cool 2x. But actually not even that much, right? I think we need like a third of the bag more, basically like a 33% move to the upside in order for us to get this green Rolex, basically.
And so did you tell them the monetary amount that we're at right now with
Yeah, I said 60, what did I say? I'll pull it up again. 61,700.
Yeah. So Operation Green Rolex theoretically has been a success. We are currently sitting at $61,700. I'm putting in the chat right now. And do they know what we're in right now?
So I just said Hex.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. So I moved back from that Celsius to Hex because Celsius ain't doing anything here.
Right.
Knock on wood. Now I say that probably Celsius moves up to $8. It's gonna
moon to like $25 overnight.
Hex goes to zero.
So in about a year, give or take, like a year in 2 weeks, we have taken $10,000 and we have turned it into $61,700.
With mistakes along the way. So
yeah,
great. That's
by
the
touching
power of crypto.
By touching this advanced device here.
Like this
is how we made the money. Very hardworking men over here in the Tokyo Crypto Show. But yeah, it's like I said, this is the power of crypto, and I think there's a guy in the beginning of the stream on my side is saying crypto is too volatile and he's better off buying gold, and he actually buys his groceries with gold. And I was like, what ye old saloon are you going to? You're buying groceries with gold, and like even that is a terrible investment.
Shaving off flakes when he gets there.
Yeah, So yeah, you want to go? Let's look at the hex chart and talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Hold on a second. Here we are. Nice green candle here on Hex. Can you see us?
Yep.
So here's a couple of things that we've been seeing with Hex, and this is the current pattern that it's doing, and it's currently getting close to its all-time high. It's technically its all-time high is up here at about 21.5 cents, and here it's currently sitting at about 18, almost 19 cents, right? So this green candle here is moving up with the Bollinger Bands. It has about a week of solid price action here, and this is likely to continue quite a bit higher. So what are we looking at here? First, we had this move up here. We have these green lines, which are different Fibonacci levels. So the kind of pattern that we're seeing here that comes up, blasts through a Fibonacci level, hits the next one, comes down, creates support, tries to break through that level again, doesn't, and then waits a little bit and then blasts off through it, hits the next Fibonacci level, which we have here, tries to break it, can't, come back down, go sideways a bit, and then smash through two levels here, the previous resistance plus this one. And this was an extra strong move simply because Hex is basically Richard Hart, who is the guy who founded Hex, also is creating this project called Pulse Chain. So a lot of people were buying up Hex. There's a lot of scarcity on the market, not much Hex on the market. So you got price going up a little stronger than usual to the next Fibonacci level, which was here at 17.2 cents. And then we had a lot of volatility here for quite a while. And then, but we did ideally basically get that support like we did here and then here in previous times on that lower Fibonacci level. And now we're breaking through this current Fibonacci level, which is here at that same level. And we're going towards the next two Fibonacci levels, which are between here at 23.5 cents and about 39 cents. So this is basically the lower end of the spectrum that I think it will at least hit. And then here is the higher end of the spectrum. It could go higher than 40 cents, but I would say that would be gravy. So right now we're basically focused on this region here. And if we need just like roughly speaking about a 30% move on this in order to get that green Rolex, then if Hex are to make it to about 24.5 or 25 cents, will basically be there in terms of dollar value. Now, what I think is potentially going to happen here is I do think we at least get to this next fib level of 23 cents, but I do think there's a possibility that Hex starts to try to flirt with that 30-cent region or even 39-cent region. So we won't, we'll make sure to protect the position just simply for the project, right? It's not like about let's get max gain just because, it's like let's just hit the goal because that's what we want. That's what we were intending to do. And if we get a little extra from that because Hex comes up here into the 30-cent region, great. But I think after this next move up with Hex, depending on wherever it ends up, then I think it could take a while. It could come down quite significantly. Let's say, for example, Hex gets up here to the 50-cent range, right, which would be fantastic. And if it pulls back down here about let's say 70%, then it can come back down to that 15-cent region, very possibly, right? So this next move probably will be pretty strong, but then also, depending on where it goes, it can have a significant pullback after that. So taking profits, in my opinion, for the purpose of the project is important. So
Charlie, I just put something in private chat for you. Now, operational green Rolex is currently standing at 61,700 bucks. Okay. So if you take a look here, okay, this is the local. First of all, this thing is incredibly hard to find. Okay, but we're able to track one down here in Tokyo. Right here, this is a 2016 Daytona Cosmograph Rolex. It is 9.4 million Japanese yen. Okay, so if you use Google Translate for this, actually 90. Was it 9,450? Okay, so we need to make $86,039 in order to achieve our target. So we are
$25,000.
Right. We're roughly $25,000 away, or a third of the bag. So we need a 30% increase, as Charlie has previously stated. So who knows what's going to happen, right? The whole market could topple like the Afghani government tomorrow. But we have a question for you. We want to ask you guys in the Moon Gang and the Hot Dude Army. Charlie and I are going to poll you guys right now. What do we do? If we hit the target, do we buy the Rolex or do we keep mooning till end of year? I'm sending the poll out now, Charlie. So we're putting the polls in our chats. Poll is going to my chat and poll is going to your chat. We're going to give you guys 30 seconds starting now. Go ahead, take your time. And Andrew says, donate it to me. No thanks. All right. So the poll's going to be.
Do we end it or you want to keep going?
Paul, I ended it on my channel already.
Okay, I'll end it as well. Here, hold on a second.
All right, here we go. And okay, we got 44 votes on my channel. How many votes you got on yours?
There we go. It's ended. I don't know. It's gonna take a second for YouTube to show this stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna populate it for a second here.
105 votes. 87% say Moon. 12% say Rolex.
The 87% of yours say Moon.
We got the Moon Gang, baby. We don't call ourselves the Moon Gang for nothing. We got 12 plebs and 87 Moon Gangers.
Okay. So on my channel, 67% say Moon me daddy. 32% say Rolex. We kind of knew you, and
32% plebs that we still have to convert. Okay, gotcha.
It's all good. I'll say that we kind of knew you animals would vote Moon it.
I mean, what do you expect when we ask these guys? You know?
We knew you animals would fucking say just Moon it, send that shit to the moon. So when we actually achieve the target, we'll do another episode updating you on Operation Green Rolex.
Then it'll be their fault if the market crashes.
Yeah.
God damn it, you guys cost us though.
Yeah. The Lolly Lule Low are in the house here. He says moon it, then lose it in a space shuttle accident.
Fair enough.
Yikes. But yeah,
hopefully we got the what do you call it on the moon accident? At least we get the I don't know what they call the emergency hatch. Hopefully, but otherwise we'll be toast as well. That would be unfortunate.
Yeah. So that's the update on that. And so do we want to do an update on let's do an update on Ethereum 2x. This one's relatively simple. So the second half was we sold my previous Rolex, which was the Daytona Cosmograph. It was a 2019 model with a black face and a gold band. Again, we'll show you a picture of that right here. So we wanted to show the confidence we had in the cryptocurrency market. So I did sell my Rolex at the time, and we invested in Ethereum. This was in February, if I'm correct, right, Charlie? February 20th, was it?
Correct. That is correct.
So we sold this at February 20th, and we were pretty confident that we could double the money fiat wise in 1 month. Now, we absolutely were wrong, and we could not double the money in 1 month. However, we do have an update here, which Charlie is going to let you know about right now.
All right. So I'll verbally talk about it. This one, we decided to play with the fun world of leverage trading. And here's where trading has paid off, because we came in with that $16,000, $17,000 worth of dirty fiat cash, which is definitely losing more than 2.5% of value per year. So of course we want to put it in an appreciating asset. So we chose Ethereum, right? Keep it simple. Something that's, a true cornerstone here in crypto. And so let's 2x it. Obviously, if we can take a look at the chart here in a bit, but basically we basically bought into Ethereum on a small local top at about I believe it was like $1,900, $1,930, something around there. And so we got 9.11 Ethereum for the cash at that point, right? And we did, a bit of a leverage trade with a stop loss, thankfully, at that move. And it was a bit of a local top. So, because I think it was the first time that Ethereum had broken past its previous all-time high back in February, which was the previous all-time high was $1,400. And then it quickly went back down and retested that area. So we lost about 1 Ethereum in that move. But then, we basically just retook our position. I don't know how I could go back and look at it to see exactly how long later. We were just using a simple 3x leverage, nothing too crazy. And we gained that Ethereum back, I think, within a few weeks after that. So by mid-April or early to mid-April, we basically had that 1 Ethereum back. And we mentioned that on the show at the time. So we're back at that where we had started in terms of Ethereum. But at that time, Ethereum's price was about to skyrocket up towards 4,400, right? And so, we decided to keep that leverage on there. And we did take that leverage off around $36 to $3,800 per Ethereum after it had already reached that 4,400 region. So we did gain the Ethereum from about 9.1 Ethereum to about 12.7 Ethereum. And then, basically since the crash in the market, I have not touched leverage at all. If you gain some crypto, right, you want to hold your gain. And so the market, has been pretty volatile since that time. So didn't add any extra, didn't try to build any extra Ethereum on there, just kind of let it do its magic from there. Because, it was the first month was like, yeah, let's kind of see if we can, catapult it a little extra with the leverage. But, we made some gains on there, but not enough at that time to, have the 2x. But now with Ethereum's current price at about 3,000, right? We basically have technically enough money. If I do the math on that, right? What's 12.7 times 3,000? Basically 3,030 or something like that. That's about $38,500, which is definitely more than 2x. 35,000 would be 32 to 35,000 would be the 2x area. So we did it. Yay. Yep. But in crypto, that's normal. So it's nice. And it hits our goal. But that, we could go back and get you that same watch times 2 if you want, or there's other options as well, I guess. But
so we did double the money. And like I said, theoretically, when Ethereum, what was Ethereum's all-time high? It was like 44 and change.
Correct.
So
we were higher, at one point.
Yeah.
And, we could have just taken it at the top. But
so at 44 and change, we were at $55,880. Now, I personally am just going to hold on to this Ethereum to 12.7 to the end of the year, and we will be engaging in some leverage trading. However, you should not leverage trade whatsoever. Correct. If you can hear the sound of my voice, don't leverage trade. Do not fucking do it. Just don't do it. You're not good enough. You need to go through 4 crypto mindset courses minimum to be given, and then you have to book a consultation with Charlie, and then he has to analyze you. Then you can leverage trade. But because more of you will lose money than the outlier that will actually make money.
Correct. And we made, 3 Ethereum or so, which is nice, 3.5 Ethereum on 2 moves. One move where you put a stop loss in. So we basically didn't get wrecked. And then another move where, we didn't take, the very, very tippy top, but, we got a good move on it. So, when you win, that's great. But I personally, do not even, though I'm able, to do that with crypto from time to time, I even personally on Bitcoin, I would only do leverage on Bitcoin, Ethereum, never more than 3x, probably not more than 2x for most people who have that experience of 4 crypto mindset courses plus a consultation specifically talking about leverage trading, which also I would, probably talk you out of it at that point. But generally speaking, 2 to 3x max, and very specific points of the cycles, right? The Bitcoin 60-day cycles plus some support resistance and Elliott wave patterns is what I basically use to determine whether it's a risky play or not. And in hindsight, you could have taken a leverage trade at with Ethereum at 2,000 and moved it up even more than we had here, going up to 3,000. But at that point in the market, that would have been idiotic. So I really only do in terms of like what would be the maximum amount of trades I would do with leverage in a specific year. I'd probably only do one per asset per quarter max. So that would mean one on Bitcoin, one on Ethereum per quarter max. Probably more like 3 per asset every every other quarter or something. Like, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but basically like 1 per asset per quarter would be 4 per year per asset, so 8, right? But basically probably take out 2 of those or whatever, so probably more like 6 leverage trades max per year, so once every 2 months, but like per coin probably 3 max per year. So that's about how many like solid kind of pretty obvious opportunities there are. And I only do it to the long side. I never short. Like shorting cryptocurrency, you're asking for trouble. So and the long side, even there's only really like per asset about 3 super obvious opportunities per year in a bull market, right? So those are all the caveats in addition to that. But even with that, right, you're still gonna, you're always gonna come across some losses every once in a while. So be careful. But I do think, when you're getting experience with this stuff, it depends on what your goal is at the end of the day. My goal is to learn as much as possible in this crypto market. So I've done everything and anything that I can, in crypto, so that I can have those tools at my disposal for now and in the future.
Yeah, I was in the same idiot who said Bitcoin was going to 50K this week was also advising the group, saying like, oh, you guys, you can leverage trade, just like 3x is all you need. I'm like, dude, you're talking to a room of people that bought SafeMoon and Dogecoin. Like, nope. This is financial advice, and it's bad, and you're fucking stupid. We're never going to tell, like, you can make a lot of money on leverage trading, but you can't.
It's one of those things where it's like your teacher, right? When your teacher does something, he's like,
yeah,
I can do this, but you can't. It's a little hypocritical, but it takes experience. It takes a lot of experience.
I mean, you guys know Voice My Ambition, like, last summer, he was 22 at the time, and he was getting a little too big for his britches. And he, when you're 22 and you have $10,000, that's a lot of money. And he got completely liquidated, and he had to earn that money like slaving away in the hot Japanese summer, installing air conditions. And after he worked all summer, he lost it all in one day. Poor kid had like a meltdown. And we love Jacob, but
yeah, but he learned a good lesson, right? So it's like like we say before, when you're young, and like I would say that's not the best way to have to learn that lesson, right? But when you're young, right, you can bounce back pretty well, right? And it still is like painful, but it gets seared into your mind. Like I still don't forget, the mistake I made with Verge in 2017. I should have just made the one move I did with it, and it was a fantastic, kind of lucky move. But at the same time, when you gain that extra money, sometimes you get that greed brain going, and it gets a little bit extra. So, yeah, we all have to learn those things, though. It happens to everybody who's been in crypto a while. But you should win more than you lose, and it all pans out in the end, as long as you stick to it.
Yep. So that's going to do it for us today. I'll be back on my channel tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Charlie will be back on his channel tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, I've got the Dark Pass coming up on August 26th for all you guys that want to learn about the deep side of seduction. Charlie's got the Crypto Mindset course coming out on September 3rd.
Correct.
3rd. And so you're going to want to get a hold of that course as well, because, with what I have going on, with all the success that I've had, you guys can clearly run the numbers and see how much I've done with Charlie's guidance. And you know, you ask yourself, is it worth to spend? What is it? This is pennies, right? What is this? $8.97?
Correct, $8.97. And
It's a
it's
joke.
fun.
You need
It's
to
funny
double the price.
I could, and I would like to, but at the same time, I want to make sure that it's a couple of things, right? Like when we started at, I think it was like what, $4.97 the first course that we did. We wanted to prove to ourselves that we could make people money consistently, and we have been, right? And then we increased the price $100 each quarter simply to keep the riffraff out, right? You want to basically make sure that people who are continuing with the course continue to make more money, substantially more money each quarter than the course costs. And we've been doing that just with the last course, right? One of the plays that we were talking about for everybody was the Hex and Pulse chain play. Now, we were telling everybody get into Hex, people who haven't gotten into it before, or people who wanted to increase their positions, because we've had people getting into Hex through the Crypto Mindset course since September of last year, which is the first one that we did. And that was around like half a penny per Hex at the time. So those guys who've held that in their portfolio between then and now are doing really well as well, obviously. And that's more, like way more than paid for as many of the courses as they want to take. It's kind of like in Japan, you say like tabe hodai, nomi hodai, like you can eat or drink as much as you want. It's like you can take this course as much as you want, as long as you just like one of these quarters, you take our advice and you stick to it over a long period of time. Like you're going to make so many outsized returns, it's ridiculous. But even if you would have just jumped in the last one with a couple $1,000s, right, to play with, you would have doubled your money. So let's say you came in with $2,000 to play with. The course cost $7.97 for the last one, and you did the Hex play. Right now, you've over doubled your money from about 7 or 8 cents to currently 18 cents on Hex. Then, with that $2,000, you turn it into 4,000, and the course was, just under 1,000. So you have $3,000 of pure profit.
Yep.
Or $3,000 in total. But, anyways,
more importantly, this is not financial advice.
Mm-hmm. That is true. So, we're just giving you ideas here, creative ideas of what you can do, but it's up to you to press the buttons and take action. So definitely come in here, put your best email address in here, because it is only available for 5 days from September 3rd to September 7th. And once it closes, you cannot get in. And sorry, you'll be left to your lonesome for the rest of the calendar year. And we have some things coming up in this course in terms of plays for people who've been in the course before that we have never mentioned on YouTube before, and that we won't mention as well. So come in and find out what those plays are. Those plays alone, if you stick them over the long term, will definitely pay for the course itself. So even if you were like, I'm a crypto god, I don't need any help anymore, but you want to make some money, then come in and grab those plays. For the people who are still learning in the crypto journey and willing to understand new concepts and take in what it really means to make money in crypto, we get straight to the point and make sure that you guys do this. So it really the winners only is kind of what we want, but we have a lot of winners out there. So definitely put your best email address in here. And if we take a look here at the bottom, yep, you are available to begin purchasing the course on September 3rd. We will send out anybody who's on the email list will get multiple emails over the course of those 5 days so that you're aware the course is available. And then all webinars will start on September 7th. So get in while the getting is good.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.